What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, DD2 is all about grinding out the goodies. There is no shortage of things to collect, and crafting materials, of course, are always really high on the list. So how do you personally like to farm your crafting materials? Do you like to go full chillax AFK mode? Do you prefer a kind of a hybrid experience, or do you like to sweat it out and get the speed runs in? That way you're absolutely maximizing your time spent while you're grinding up those materials. Now, I personally like to choose that hybrid route. We're here on Chaos 10 the Wild West, and I'll kind of give you an example. I've got a few different qualifiers for what I personally am looking for in a grind map. First off, is it going to be alt friendly? Am I going to be able to bring an alt in? That way I can double the amount of materials I get. Of course, this is like almost number one rule when it comes to just grinding it out. And then additionally, we all know I'm super duper lazy. With that in mind, I don't want to have to swap my hero deck. I mean, I know it only takes a second, but I just don't want to do it. I want to go in with 4 heroes. Play with those 4 heroes while I'm grinding and not have to think about moving any heroes around or doing anything else. Additionally, since I like that hybrid style gameplay, I do enjoy like tower boosting, but I also enjoy watching Game of Thrones over and over again. So with that in mind, I like to do boosting builds. So we're here, like I mentioned, on the Wildest West Chaos 10. This, of course, is the go-to for me for farming reroll tokens. And we are going to build this one out using the mighty Nimbus. You guessed it, y'all. Defense rate, anti-melee, anti-chaos. The world's greatest super relic. Works on the Nimbus, too. With that, of course, using mass destruction and destruction, and the third shard I'm going for is fleeting nature to get a little more movement speed on the Nimbus. Of course, if you've got a gilded fleeting nature, it's going to be even better. I don't use them enough where I've bothered to gild that one yet. I do want to get it gilded eventually, but just have not yet. So on this map, I'm going to focus heavily on the Nimbus. Everything else is going to be pretty general issue. You all know I like to use anti-heal and destructive pylon on my water aura, and then since you're using the water aura, you might as well use a frost strikes aura as well for a little bit of crowd control. And then the initiate, of course, provides just incredible tower boost. So like on this particular map, I will like to generally start off with just a big old buff beam. Let's get our tree down. I'm just going to slap it over here. The main thing I usually prioritize on the tree is just getting big range. That way I got no building requirements. I can put the tree pretty much wherever I want. And then we're going to spam up the Nimbus. The first 2, I want to get as close to the core as I can. And I'm going to just put 2 right there on that path. Now, we're going to go with stacks of 3 from here on out, just making sure that the middle one is as close to centered as possible, and then getting the outer ones in as close to it as possible, of course. And more Nimbus, please. These Nimbus, a lot of them are just going to sit idle, as this is a little bit of overkill. Now, if you do a build similar to this and you're not in higher end gear, then of course you're going to have to add in some hero damage. So with that in mind, for me personally, the thing I usually like to do is just play actively. Look for any healthier mobs. Before the mini bosses get here, just keep an eye out on what is coming down the lanes, and go assist wherever necessary. Additionally, I'm not using a reflect beam at all. Now, if I was to use a reflect beam, then it would add a whole nother level of chill, as you just don't have to hide from any projectiles. Without using the reflect beam, 1 in 100 runs, you might get a stray projectile, hit the core, and lose. But it's not super common on this particular map. And then we're going to throw in those Frost Strike auras right on the outside. I got the massive size Frost Strike auras, of course. And then when you look at my Nimbus, while it is boosted, it is going to be a little outside the range of the Froststrike Aura. So when we look at it, the Nimbus is coming all the way up to about here, which means we're spawn camping that entrance, or at least getting some of the little guys killed off right there. We're getting some of the little guys killed off here as well. There will be the enemies that walk this way and come back down and around. Now this, of course, being a turtle build also means it's going to be a slow one, particularly on this map. The further out in the lanes, like just splitting it into 2 or 3 stacks and building out here further, you're going to be able to avoid all of that mob walk time and, you know, just get the map done way, way quicker. I, of course, am choosing that chill hybrid experience. Now, no reflect beam in, so I'm going to hide over here during the course of the wave, and then just going to spam Talisman of Talismans of Empowerment. I almost said Embermount. The Talisman of Embermount. Wrong hero, wrong tower. But, yeah, we're going to throw down our talismans here and just kind of chillax it out. I've done this run and this build enough times where I know, even though I will see a chieftain periodically get close, I just don't have to worry about it. So, of course, those chieftain are going to push in further if you don't have the same tier of gear, which means you're going to have to add in a little bit of hero DPS. Now, as soon as they get into the anti-heal aura, it's pretty much over. So even if one does get relatively close, I don't really have to sweat it too much. As you see, I've got Nimbus just chilling here, waiting for something to hit. And those will hammer out any chieftains that make it in very, very quickly as soon as we get into that anti-heal aura. So pretty much just chillax it out through this one. And this, for me, is usually the ideal build. Now, I do bring along an alt normally, particularly if it's late at night. That way I can get double the crafting materials. And I personally just usually don't sweat the number of runs per hour. Now, this, of course, is not maximizing my time spent in the game, which I am always a big fan of maximizing my time spent. But I also want to maximize my Game of Thrones watch time, meaning this is kind of an ideal build for me. So, how do you like to grind? Do you like to sweat it out and get the super speed runs in? Do you like to fully automate and make it so you can get up and walk away and be completely AFK? Or do you prefer kind of a hybrid version of each one? What is the grind you like to do? Let me know down in the comments below, but that will do it for this time around. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a ton of DD2 coming. We got a pretty big update incoming with the new hero and the number squish, or number crunch. So I am certainly looking forward to jumping in and checking out all the new hotness. But thank you all once again, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.